Do you know what hurts more than being accused of something you didn't do? It's being accused by someone you were trying to save. When he entered that room and saw the cleaning lady kneeling, with his blood on her hands and the money scattered across the table, he thought he was facing a thief. But when the truth came out, his world collapsed, because that day, the woman he judged was the only one who tried to save him. Erbil, before we delve into this amazing story, tell me which city and state you're watching from. Leave a comment and I'll reply with gratitude. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like this video. We want to share more stories like this. The Hotel Aurea was known for its luxury, but also for its secrets. Behind the perfumed corridors and the gleam of the golden chandeliers, there were stories that would never make it into the guest registers. And one of them began on a seemingly ordinary morning when Elisa, a dedicated cleaning lady, in a blue uniform and with a serene gaze, arrived early for her shift. She was the kind of woman who went unnoticed, quiet, disciplined, always with a polite smile on her face, even when the world seemed to turn its back on her. Working there was what supported her elderly mother and her younger, sick brother. And perhaps that's why she approached each task as if she were cleaning a temple, respecting every corner, every detail, as if the hotel was someone's home that deserved to be honored. The hotel owner, Augusto Montenegro, was the opposite. A man in a dark suit with a firm voice and a cold gaze, known for his distrust of everyone. After discovering a multi-million-dollar embezzlement, he began to see traitors in every employee. That's when he decided to put her to the test. He had 50,000 reais in cash left on the desk in the presidential office and ordered that no one enter, except her. An honesty test, he called it. But what he didn't imagine was that, on that very day, fate would bring them face to face over something much bigger than money, an encounter that would forever change the way he saw people and the way she saw herself. Block 1, the test and the suspicion. The clock struck 8 in the morning when Elisa carried the cleaning cart up to the top floor. The executive suite hallway was silent. The thick carpet muffled the sound of footsteps, and the doors had a gold finish with silver numbers. Upon reaching the presidential suite, she noticed something different. The door was ajar, which never happened. She called out softly, "Cleaning service." "Is anyone there?" No response. She pushed the door open slowly, and the cold air from the air conditioner touched her face. The room was immaculate, except for one thing. On the dark wood table, a stack of banknotes gleamed under the lamplight. Elisa stood motionless. Her heart pounded, as if it wanted to burst from her chest. She had never seen so much money together. It must belong to some rich guest, she thought. She took 2 steps, observing. At that moment, the security camera discreetly rotated, capturing every movement. On the other side, in the control room, Augusto watched silently, arms crossed, with the cold expression of someone waiting to confirm his theory. She approached the table. The notes were arranged in bundles, and beside them was an open folder with papers scattered about. One of them had red stains. Elisa frowned. She looked at the floor. There were drops of blood near the sofa. Her breathing quickened. Following the marks, she realized the trail led to the bathroom door. She knocked lightly. "Mr. Augusto, is everything all right?" Silence. He tried again, more firmly. "Mr. Augusto, are you there?" Nothing. The clock's ticking seemed to echo like thunder. Then a faint knock came from the other side of the door. Elisa grasped the doorknob, but it was locked. She heard a groan. Instinct took over. She forgot her fear. She forgot the money. She ran to the cart, grabbed a clean cloth, wet it with water, and knocked on the door again. "Open up, please, you're injured." On the other side, Augusto, pale and dizzy, tried to reach the latch. His hand slipped on the blood. His vision was blurred. When he finally managed to unlock it, The door opened and he staggered, falling against it. Elisa supported him as best she could, his body heavy, the smell of iron and expensive perfume mingling. "Oh my God, what happened?" she asked desperately. He tried to speak, but his voice barely came out. "I cut my arm, the glass." Without thinking, she tore her apron, pressed the cloth against the wound, and began calling for help, screaming down the hallways. No one heard. That floor was isolated. She ran to the table, grabbed his cell phone, dialed the emergency number, and knelt down beside him again. "Stay calm, sir. The ambulance is coming. I'm going to stop the bleeding, you hear?" he said, his voice trembling but firm. The sound of the siren in the distance brought relief, but not for long. When the security guards arrived, they found the scene. Elisa kneeling, her hands bloody, her boss unconscious, and money scattered around. The manager, in shock, shouted, "What is this, Elisa? What have you done?" She tried to explain herself, but the confusion was so great that no one could hear her. The security guards pulled her by the arms while she cried and repeated, "I just wanted to help. He was bleeding. I just wanted to help." The cameras kept recording, but no one went to check at that moment. And so, in a matter of minutes, the most honest woman in that hotel went from being an exemplary employee to the prime suspect in a crime. In the hallways, the murmur began. Did she steal from her boss? They say he caught her handling the money. But she was always so proper. The voices multiplied, and with them, the judgment. In the hospital, Augusto regained consciousness a few hours later, but was confused. He didn't remember exactly what had happened. The manager seized the opportunity. "Sir, we found Elisa with you unconscious, and the money scattered. We think she tried what?" he interrupted, still dizzy. "Trying to take some of the money." Augusto didn't answer. He remained silent, staring at the white ceiling of the room. Trying to piece things together, all he remembered was her face, her worried voice, her hands pressing against the wound, the sound of the cloth being wrung out in the water. But his pride got the better of him. He ordered her contract suspended until everything is cleared up. Elisa spent that night at the police station. There was no evidence against her, but there was no one to defend her either. She cried silently, sitting on the cold floor, her uniform still stained with blood. All she had was her own conscience, and even then, the whole world seemed to want to rip it away from her. And while she huddled there in a corner, not knowing where her life would turn, the true test of honesty began. No longer about money, but about the human capacity to believe in the truth when it doesn't serve our fears. The next day dawned grey, and even with the sun trying to break through the cracks in the windows of the small boarding house room where Elisa lived, the atmosphere seemed enveloped by a dense cloud of shame. She had barely slept. The manager's words echoed in her head like a relentless sentence. "You will be investigated." Investigated. For saving someone's life. The news spread through the hotel with the speed of a wildfire. The other cleaning ladies looked away. The waiters whispered in the hallways, and even the security guards, who had previously greeted her with respect, now watched her with suspicion. Every step she took seemed to echo a judgment. That morning she returned to the hotel, only to hand in her ID badge. The blue uniform was still clean and starched, as if insisting on maintaining the dignity that her name carried. Upon arriving at the reception, the manager, Mr. Claudio, greeted her with a look that mixed arrogance and fear. "Did you come to return the uniform?" She held the badge firmly. "I came to restore my peace, Mr. Claudio. You can keep this badge." He tried to hide a cynical smile. "I'm just following orders. The owner asked us to suspend the contract until the investigation is complete." Elisa took a deep breath, holding back tears. "You should have followed your heart too." On the other side of the reception window, one of the chambermaids watched the scene and murmured to her colleague, "I always knew she was different. I can't believe she did that." But the seed of doubt had already been sown, and doubt, once spread, destroys reputations faster than any lie. Meanwhile, in the hospital office, Augusto Montenegro reviewed reports, trying to distract himself. His arm was still bandaged, his face pale. Since the accident, something had deeply troubled him, the fragmented memory of that morning. He closed his eyes and saw flashes, the sound of the door, the soft touch of small hands, her voice saying, "Stay calm." And along with that memory came her gaze as she was taken away, the look of someone being crushed by an injustice she didn't deserve. He tried to convince himself that it was all a misunderstanding, that time would reveal the truth. But something inside him screamed differently. 2 days later, he decided to return to the hotel, still against medical advice. He entered through the service elevator, the same one Elisa used. He observed his reflection in the elevator mirror and saw a man he no longer recognized. Arrogant, lonely, surrounded by luxury, but empty. When he arrived at the reception, he was greeted with reverence, as always, but he felt a new unease. People feared him, and for some reason, that no longer gave him pleasure. "Mr. Montenegro, would you like us to prepare the meeting about the incident?" the manager asked. "Not yet. First, I want to see the recordings," he said with a firm look. Claudio hesitated. "The recordings?" "Yes, the ones from the presidential suite. I want to see what really happened." The manager tried to change the subject. "But sir, the cameras were turned off for maintenance that day, remember?" "Turned off?" Augusto narrowed his eyes. "Since when are security cameras turned off in a luxury hotel?" The tone of his voice cut through the air. The manager swallowed hard. I'll check to see if there's a backup, sir." Meanwhile, Elisa walked through the city streets with a heavy heart. The money she had saved would barely cover the rent and her mother's medicine. She passed a bakery, saw a helper needed sign, and for a second considered going in. But something inside her told her it wasn't the end. She still had something to resolve. "If I don't do anything, they'll keep lying about me," she thought. So she decided to return to the hotel, even without being called. In the afternoon, she arrived silently, head held high. The security guards tried to stop her, but she asked, "I just want to speak with Mr. Montenegro." "1 minute, he's not here," she insisted. "I just want to deliver this," he said, holding out a small note with firm handwriting. "If you want to know the truth, look at the cameras. The truth isn't afraid to be seen." The security guard hesitated but handed it over. Hours later, the note was in Augusto's hands. He read it, folded it slowly, and stared blankly into space. His face hardened. He called the head of security. "I want all the backup footage from the day of the accident. If anyone says it doesn't exist, they're lying. Find it, now." While the system was being reviewed, a truth began to emerge from the shadows. The security technician, a simple and honest man, found the files on a secondary server. "Sir, the images are here. They were moved manually." Augusto felt his stomach churn. Exhibitions. On the screen, the video began with Elisa entering the room, looking at the money, then kneeling beside him. There was no sound. He watched intently, his heart racing. Suddenly her voice emerged, captured by a corner microphone. "Please don't die. Hold on tight. I'm here. Can you hear me? I won't let you die." Tears began to well up in Augusto's eyes without him realizing it. She saved me," he murmured, incredulous. The video continued. The moment she called emergency services, the desperation, the makeshift bandage on the wound, and finally, the arrival of the security guards. Her face, in shock, proclaiming her innocence as she was forcibly taken away. Augusto clenched his fists. Every second of that recording was a stab in the conscience. He had doubted the woman who had literally saved him. He immediately ordered the manager to be called. Claudio entered, trying to maintain his composure. "Did you ask to see me?" "I asked," Augusto replied without taking his eyes off the screen. "And do you know what I saw here?" Claudio hesitated. "No, sir. I saw the truth. And I saw a coward lying to me to save his own job." The manager turned pale. "Sir, Shut up!" Augusto shouted, slamming his hand on the table. "You arrested an innocent woman, tarnished her name, and then tried to make me believe she was a thief." The silence that followed was cutting. Augusto took a deep breath, trying to contain his hatred. "I want you to leave, now, and let the whole hotel know that Elisa will be reinstated immediately." But Augusto knew that reintegration wasn't enough. He needed to face Elisa, look her in the eyes, and say what he had never said to anyone. "I was wrong." And that scene, which would be the pinnacle of redemption, would come next, when his pride crumbled before the truth. The next day, the Hotel Aurea awoke differently. The employees whispered in the corridors. The manager, Claudio, was nowhere to be seen, and a murmur filled the air. The owner was back. But this time, he wasn't the same man who had left days before, arrogant and suspicious. Augusto Montenegro arrived with a serious expression, but a heavy gaze, as if carrying a burden impossible to disguise. The cut on his arm was healing on the outside, but inside, there were much deeper wounds. He asked that all the employees be gathered in the main lobby. The news spread quickly. Cooks, chambermaids, security guards, receptionists, everyone approached curiously, murmuring Elisa's name under their breath. And she, by coincidence or fate, arrived at that very moment. She wore the same blue uniform she had worn on the day of the accusation. She held her head high, even though her heart still ached. When she crossed the lobby and saw her boss standing there, all eyes turned to her. "Miss Elisa," said Augusto, his voice deep but controlled. "It's good that you came." Silence fell immediately. No one dared to breathe. Elisa looked at him without fear, but with tears in her eyes. "I didn't know I was still allowed to enter here, Mr. Montenegro. I should have given you more than permission. I should have apologized," he replied sincerely. A murmur echoed through the hall. Augusto looked around, took a deep breath, and continued. "A few days ago, this woman was accused of a crime she didn't commit, and I believed her, not because I had proof, but because pride blinded me. I wanted to test the honesty of someone who had always served me with dignity. And in the end, it was me who was tested." The words hung in the air like a weight being slowly lifted. Elisa felt her eyes burn. He continued, "I watched the recordings. I saw the truth with my own eyes. When I thought she was robbing me, she was actually saving me. And if I'm alive today, it's because this woman had more courage and kindness than all of us put together." People exchanged glances, some emotional, others embarrassed. The silence turned to admiration. Augusto then approached slowly, stopping before her. His voice trembled. "Elisa, forgive me, I don't deserve what you did for me." She stood motionless for a second. Her eyes, brimming with tears, reflected his regret. The crowd watched in absolute silence. "Mr. Montenegro, I didn't do it because I deserved it," she replied, her voice firm. "I did it because I learned from my mother that when you see someone in need of help, you help them, even if that person never comes to thank you." Augusto lowered his head, his eyes moist. "You are more noble than anyone I've ever known. I destroyed your reputation, and I want to repair that. The hotel is yours if you want it. A position, money, whatever." She interrupted him with a gentle gesture. "What I want, you can't buy," he said, smiling serenely. "I want respect, that's all." The phrase echoed through the lobby, and it was like a punch to the pride of everyone present. The simplicity of those words exposed what was lacking in that place: humanity. Augusto discreetly wiped away his tears and nodded. "So from today onwards, your name will be synonymous with this: respect, honesty. Hotel Area will carry your history as an example. He turned to the other employees. Listen carefully, everyone. The woman you judged, she's the one who kept this place standing when I fell. From now on, I want you to know that a man's true wealth lies not in what he possesses, but in the character of those around him. A soft, timid applause began among the chambermaids, growing until it filled the entire lobby. Elisa, embarrassed, lowered her eyes. Augusto extended his hand, but she hesitated before shaking it. For a moment, she looked at him, not as her boss, but as someone who finally understood the pain she had caused. "Thank you, Mr. Montenegro," she said calmly. "May you never again test the honesty of someone who only wanted to do the right thing." She turned and walked toward the exit. Augusto watched her leave, and something inside him broke and healed at the same time. In that instant, he realized that not all regret is punishment. Sometimes it is redemption. Months later, a new sign was installed at the hotel entrance. It read, "True cleanliness is not in the walls, but in the intentions." Below is a photo of Elisa smiling discreetly, holding her blue uniform. And that's how a cleaning lady who believed she was alone ended up being seen by everyone. Not for having failed, but for having shown that greatness resides where no one usually looks. The truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to be seen, because in the end, time always cleanses what lies tried to tarnish.